You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Boardwalk Empire After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Boardwalk Empire After Show.
Yes, Bing is for doing, and we are doing Boardwalk Empire for AFTERBUZZ TV, Season 3, Episode 8, entitled The Pony. I'm Keven Undergaro, and I am with...
Bethany Jaber.
And Eboni K. Williams.
And no, this week we are missing...
Sweet Kristen.
Sweet Kristen.
Sweet Kristen.
Maybe it's a good thing, though.
I don't know. We'll find out.
Not Kristen specifically, but maybe
So much to talk about.
Until we prove that we can be 4 people on this show, I think maybe 3. We got a really nasty comment last week about talking over each other. And what did I say when we went down, you guys?
It was the first thing. Yeah, that was the first thing you said. You were like, we got to watch talking over each other. And I was like, uh-oh, that's probably me.
No, it was all of us. No,
Yeah.
it was all of us. We get excited. We love the show.
Yes.
So anyway, we're going to work on that anyway. No, we love Kristen. We love her insight. We just have to learn how to behave and keep our enthusiasm in check. Yes?
Okay.
Yes.
I love tonight's episode. As soon as I saw Tim Van Patten directed it, I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
He's the best.
He is the best, and he's the most consistent, and he's an exec on the show, right? So I mean, he just follows through every one of them. He hits them out of the park.
He was the, for those fans who don't know, Tim was the director of The Sopranos and the Greater Sopranos episodes. Is really where he cut his teeth. If you're really a super fan, you know him as a child, a young teen actor back in the day from the famous Van Patten acting family. Dick Van Patten.
Oh.
And all his whole core.
Okay.
Needless to say, I think one of the best directors, and if not the best in television. And so I was just so excited that he did this one. And for me, the episode, it delivered. There was so much going on.
It was big. In a word, it was just a big episode. Yeah, it was awesome.
I don't even know where to begin.
Well, let's begin with Jimmy's. Let's begin with Jimmy's death.
Okay.
Because the shot of Richard's face to begin with. I mean, that blank stare. The close-up of him, of course, with the half his face and the other half in mask, as they're going through this bogus funeral ceremony for Jimmy.
Right.
I just thought his face was priceless, and his line. Could you say something, Richard? Jimmy deserved better, and she was pissed.
Yep.
Gillian was pissed.
I love how she's so willing to act all of it out for everyone, moment to moment.
And she's so pissed when people don't play along. It's so funny.
But you know something? It's interesting you say that, because I say the same thing about her, and that's why when she threw the drink in Nucky's face is one of the first times that she took the needle off the record player.
I agree.
Yes.
Where she was she dropped it. She dropped the facade, and she drew the line in the sand.
Well, because I think it hurts to continue. If you're in control and playing it, it's fine. But the minute that Nucky kind of took over and was playing along with her, she's like, no, this is my game, and I don't want you playing it.
Right.
So the hell with you. And I was like, yeah, that's how you make believe.
I don't like drinks being thrown in my guy Nucky's face.
I'm okay.
I'm cheering for her demise, but I actually don't think it's gonna come from for a while. I think she. My prediction, she may go to the end of the series.
She moves the plot line, too. I mean, we see later, and I know we'll talk about this, but she let the cat out of the bag about the dinner. She kind of moves the story along.
In a huge way.
Yeah.
In a huge way. Well,
and she moves it along in a way that's interesting.
It is.
I mean, there's so many times in these episodes where it's like, okay, we're pushing exposition forward, we're just laying the pipe, and I always feel with Gillian, she does it in a way that
It's
like
artful.
yeah,
It's artful.
and it keeps us on our toes. So
Yeah, she's
I
good.
hope she does make it to the end of the series.
I think she will. I wouldn't rule out her getting back on Nucky's team at the end when kind of
Ooh.
all Jersey has to get together against all these outside forces. I mean,
Right,
again,
I could see that.
depends how long this goes. Which I'm hoping it's gonna go. We talk about it every time. I hope we get 8 seasons, but you never know.
Yeah.
We knew that Jip was gonna become her pawn.
Yeah.
We knew that, and he sits down. But you guys laughed when Richard was introduced, and I said, "Jip, meet the man who'll be killing you."
Right, have you guys met? Not yet.
Hello.
Yeah.
How do you do?
And of course, Jip can't help but just give him a little dig.
Yeah.
I was here to
Yeah.
scare the mice away. So
Yeah.
but it could be Richard that is the one that equalizes him.
Yeah.
That could be very possible. I liked the opening shot of the coffin going into the incinerator.
And the sound, great sound design. You hear all the crackling,
Yeah.
and right, that goes over to the next scene.
And then it transfers and something's cooking, and it just there are just a lot of really nice tangibles that
Yeah.
were threaded
You know,
through this.
Soderbergh talks about transitions, and one of the things
I
when
love
he looks through a
transitions.
script,
Mm.
he's just as concerned with how one scene is going to transition into another. So, like Tim Van Patten, of course, great minds think alike. You go from
Yeah.
the sound of the incinerator to that next scene so seamlessly. But for me, it was like I just couldn't get the sounds of the body burning out of my head. It was so the show can get so graphic,
Yeah.
which I love.
Yeah.
Which I love.
All the men do. The men love that part.
We know we're going to talk about what the repercussions of what Gillian does later in our episode.
Yeah.
We kind of told you about iTunes, and we love your comments. We love
We
your
do.
ratings. We're really, really sorry for last week talking over one another. We will work on that, but it's a great example of when you do call us out and stuff, and you rate and comment, we respond. But if you guys,
Absolutely. And one of these episodes we're gonna get right, and you're gonna be like, it was awesome.
no,
We're just
no,
gonna
no.
be
You
so
know what?
happy.
We have to be fair to the people who do love on us because we
That's
have a
true.
lot of
Yeah.
great positive comments too, and and we love that as well. Please go to iTunes and continue to comment on us. And if you want to see pretty girls, I always say go to YouTube. You can see our YouTube version and leave your comments there as well. So we get to Chicago, and for me, that whole storyline's moving a little more quickly than I thought. Not the Van Alden part, but the Capone Torrio part. And I know it might be a bit of a spoiler, but I think we've touched upon it in previous podcasts, where Torrio we know is going to go and leave this crazy lifestyle and live to a ripe old age of 75 in Italy.
Which might make him the smartest man in the series.
By the way, it may make him the smartest man in the history of the Costa
history.
Nostra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for him to have been ahead of the curve, because most of them it's you either die in jail or you're
Get offed.
You get offed. So, but I thought that was going to come later, where, as we always call our little Muppet babies,
Yeah.
Al, little Muppet baby, but he's going to grow into a full Muppet soon. It
Yes.
seems like, because we see that Torrio, his mind is going off to Italy.
You've got it all under control. I mean, we very clearly he was making those assertions, and in a very trusting way, which was like, because sometimes when you're like head honcho, it's really hard to let go of the reins and really trust someone to run your operation. But he seems truly confident.
But he scared him at first.
Yeah.
Because we didn't know which way he was going to go. He's like, you thought that was a good idea? You
Right.
thought that was the right thing to do?
You do what you thought was right. Yeah. Yeah. It's like,
And-
oh, great, call him up. Let's do it.
Yeah. So it was interesting, and I loved, just geez, I don't know if I wrote it down, but and again, you know me, I geek out on all the symbolism with the lines, but talking about Pompeii
Right.
and Mount
The
Vesuvius,
lava.
and just how these people were working, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, came this force,
Yeah.
and yada 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 yada, and to me, I saw the force as Al Capone. To me,
Al is the force.
I think, because look he's the most famous, notorious gangster,
Yes,
he is.
period.
Yeah.
And there he is. It's this little chubby guy in the back that has a hot head and all these problems. And to me, he's Mount Vesuvius. He's Pompeii.
Ooh.
I like that.
Good
Kev.
work.
No,
Kev.
I don't know.
good,
I
Tim.
like
Am I
that,
reaching? No,
yeah.
because I don't want to
No,
get.
I think that's good. I think that's great. And I like it that has his aha moment.
Yeah.
And he's like, what do I want to die here, or do I want to live a great life? And so
Right.
he makes that transition. One of my favorite bits about this scene in the meatpacking district, if it's okay that I go there,
Yeah, of course.
is I know we're in Chicago. I know we're there, but I'm going to compare it to New York real quick, because the meatpacking district in New York, it's like the in the teens on the
Right.
west side. It's so hip.
It's very hip.
It's like,
yeah, it's the
as
place
you
to
know,
be.
it's the place to be. But I always walk around there picturing what it was like when, way back when.
Dirt
and
roads and just
yeah, and
carcasses
meat
hanging.
hanging, and we got a feel for that tonight of
Right.
what it really actually looked like.
I know, and that's the magic, you guys, of film and the magic of television, and it takes money to do that,
Yes.
you know. And so you just root for. I always say I root for the John Adams miniseries of the world. I root for this show because
Yeah.
it does give us such
does
a
it
great
justice,
glimpse of
yeah.
history.
Yeah.
My aunts and my grandma and everybody, like when people have now moved into the old jewelry factories in New York and in Providence that our people worked in, they're like, you're gonna live in an old factory? What are you doing?
Right, right.
Like, that's a loft space?
I think of that too.
They're
I think
like,
of
people died in there. And I'm like, oh, right.
all the old sweatshops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's a beautiful loft space, and I'm gonna have hip modern furniture. Oh, people slaved in there every day. Maybe not a great idea.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
all went to college. Like,
Yeah.
are you kidding? Like,
That's life.
that, yeah.
See, it doesn't buy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want like
People- well,
ghosts
what it-
sneaking up on me and being like, boo.
What did Nucky say? People always want something new,
Yeah.
right? Which we'll get to that
Yeah.
later. But we see Capone is stepping up, and O'Banion is kind of cut down a little bit to size when they now have to do business with one another.
Yes.
And we see Van Alden doing well, holding his iron box, which is like a great prop, right?
Yeah.
He sells irons,
Yes.
O'Banion says. So
Which is a great setup for the next scene.
it's a great setup for next scene. So now,
Next scene.
yeah, which I know, I've been waiting all season.
I know
Yeah,
you
you have.
Oh, I've been waiting all season for O'Banion for Van Alden to flip the switch. And
Boy, did he.
Yeah, he
Ooh.
did. He did. And once again, so graphic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with the burn mark on the face. And why do I feel like we're going to see the guy with the burn mark
Yeah. just
later?
to see that. Yeah.
Maybe, but not in any significant way. I think just bumping into him at a movie theater or something, because
We have waited so long for Van Alden to snap, and we got that payoff tonight. I think we need like a little extra payoff of the guy with the burn on the face. I think you're right.
Yeah.
as much as I loved it, I wanted more.
I know.
Because I don't like the guy got the burn mark, but they just threw a bunch of things around. I wanted like some other
bunch of
people
people to pay. Yeah.
to be at least be thrown around and intimidated more. But man, again, Tim Van Patten, great direction. This monster is in this room alone throwing
He's the
things,
monster.
and we see the people
Scared as
observing behind the glass
yeah.
windows.
No,
Yeah.
he's an animal.
This
in a
animal,
cage.
An
right.
animal like- yeah.
Another
Loose
animal.
at the zoo. Yeah.
Right. So it's like now we know what Jip is, but now we've got another animal.
Mm-hmm.
Here was what was
Yeah.
interesting, and we know his wife is wife of the year. I want to be married
Well,
to her so bad.
There's
I
a
know.
phrase in the black
I know you
community.
do.
I love these moments in black culture.
Yeah, no, because we're also this
yeah.
is it's the racist show, Ebony.
Right.
You know we can do
and
that.
Ebony's moment of black culture is
Awesome.
we call it a down ass chick, right? And
Oh,
Van
I want a
Alden,
down-ass chick!
she's the most down
I
ass
want a
chick
down-ass
ever
chick.
in life. Like this
Down-ass
chick is
chick.
distilling this whiskey, and she has a business plan.
Right.
She's about it.
And she
Yeah.
she knew it's Norwegian this day, and
Yes.
and she's
Yeah.
like, we make him
Right.
our bottles. And by the way, how about for the first time, she's such a down ass chick. Right?
She is.
That for the first time in
Yeah.
the history of this series, someone has made home distilled alcohol appealing.
Yes,
Or
with the
even
orange
just-
slices.
Yeah, it was
Yes.
it right. It
Yes.
was because all of it is just gasoline.
Right.
This crap
Right.
that
Just
they're
gross.
touting
Yeah.
is awful.
Yeah.
And so to hear that, it was like, oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, she's my hat's off to her. She's more woman than me. She's
Right.
awesome. Yeah.
She's
Wait,
she's
you're not
amazing.
a down ass chick?
I
Are you?
am, but she's just her. I was so impressed with her foresight. Just.
All right, wait, real quick. And I know our fans hate this when we step away from like the subject.
Okay.
Bethany, you a down ass chick?
I don't. You know what? I was recently complaining.
I'm gonna get to Marissa. Don't worry. You're not getting off. Get ready to get on the mic.
My husband, not to get too personal, was complaining this evening because he came home from being on tour, and he was like, he's actually English. He's like, you don't cook. You're not nurturing enough. Like, what is this? So I think that would take me out of the running.
You're out of the running.
See, Ebony, it's hard to be a down ass chick though to a limey.
Yeah.
To an English guy. It's just tough.
Thank you.
It's tough. All right, Marissa, are you a down ass chick? I want to hear.
I don't think so. No.
No, Marissa. No. Yeah. No. Yeah. You got your own.
So
you know what?
coy.
No. She's part of the problem. She has her own mind. I don't like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, the down ass chicks have their own mind too because look at
They have a great
so
mind.
strong. I mean, think of the wife is stronger than Vin Alden.
Oh, totally. Well, I probably would have done the liquor, but I would have had the other 3 bottles to consume. So I would have been thinking.
Yeah.
I would have not been
Just
smart
you'd have
enough.
been like, what's
You know,
up?
you know what's
Yeah,
sad?
like, I'm just
Maria,
gonna
my
face.
girlfriend used to be a down ass chick. Used to
She
be.
probably still
Oh.
is deep down.
We'd have to push her to the wall. No, then hey, listen, they get famous, everything
I
changes.
think maybe you just switched roles.
You're
I'm a
down
down-ass
ass
chick.
dude. Yeah.
Dude, down-ass
I am a
dude.
down ass chick.
I think that's what's happened. You just
100%.
switched.
Okay.
So, here's the one thing I found interesting about the O'Banion and Van Alden interaction. A great left turn from writing. I thought that Van Alden was going to become O'Banion's #1 man. And because O'Banion showed him gratitude
Yes.
back episodes ago, I thought there'd be a warmth between them. But when I find O'Banion's like a smartass with him, disrespectful, and just like, and this is what you do to pay off the debt of that body. And oh yeah, you're showing up with me tomorrow. You're not going to see any. I don't see a loyalty growing between them or a bond growing between them.
No.
And that was a surprise to me because I thought that that's where they were going, that he'd become like the #1 guy. Where now with Wifey Poo, it seems like he's going to go into a business for himself. O'Banion will probably find out, and he'll be at odds with O'Banion, and then putting him more on the side of Capone.
Yeah.
Right?
They've done a really great job with, creating that alliance and leaving it open-ended. He can really go any way. Where if they did create that nurturing, lovely relationship you're talking about, I think they would have been really locked into something that they couldn't write
Like,
out of. They can write out of this.
he's not gonna-
He's gonna have
He can
choices
go
now.
any avenue.
Yeah.
He's not going to be what, Richard was to Jimmy,
No.
or what Slater is to Nucky.
Or
He's
he-
not going to be that.
Or he can always go back to the feds at this point because he has an inside perspective. Do you
Right.
think that could happen?
You know what? You are 100% right in that crooked era, and in the era of which we still live in, the ends justify the means.
Yes.
That if he can help take down Capone and he has information, they'll figure everything with him.
Yeah.
It's called prosecutorial immunity, and it works every time.
Nice. That's why we got a lawyer. Nice.
Awesome.
Who has a lawyer hosting their podcast? Awesome. And
Yeah, it's
she's a
good.
down ass chick. So
Halfway.
halfway. Okay. So let's talk. Speaking of women, and we continue just to see like women and
Yeah.
women struggling for their power in this series, and especially this season.
Can I just say real quick
Please.
that Van Alden's wife, and I still don't know her first name, but I think I'm curious if
Husband.
I was just gonna say I love when she calls him
husband?
husband.
I love that.
Okay.
this is one of those roles I feel that you get really lucky with, that you think you're gonna have like, oh, I'm a nanny. And then they start writing
Right.
their way in a different direction. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, we're just going to make you the wife.
Yeah.
And by the way,
And then the third season comes and
let
yep.
me say for our fans, that Bethany is a working actress. I know you have an episode of Homeland that's
Yeah.
coming up, and several other things. So that's why you would know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but it's one of those things that it just keeps, you thought you had like 2 days of work, and then you wake up and you have a series.
Yes.
So,
Well,
bless her heart.
The character of Jesse on Breaking Bad was
Yeah.
supposed to be 2 episodes killed off.
mhm.
I mean, how many Emmys later?
Wow.
But that's a great point.
Yeah.
You're right. You're
You're right.
totally right.
Yeah.
And so, but talking about these women and how they have to be smarter. It's funny because it's so competitive back then for a woman. If you
And
think it's
today.
competitive
Yeah,
now,
today.
but nothing, Ebony,
Yes,
like then.
no, I get it.
So think of
Yeah.
how much smarter they even then had to be to
Yeah.
get what they needed.
It's true.
And it's funny. I knew a lot of cultures, like whether it was Italian or Greek, that would say, the mothers would say, listen, he thinks he's the boss, but
We let him think he's.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we
Driving. Somebody told me to drive from the back seat.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we saw that, so that's what they had to do. But
Yeah.
in a way, you have to be even smarter.
Yeah.
Back then, I think, and then we're
Yeah, 'cause
seeing
you
it
can't-
in this season. It's so prevalent. So we see Margaret. First of all, Margaret and Dr. Mason with the nun was
That was cute.
great.
Yeah.
Was great. And I have to say, you guys, my stomach just turns every time I see like the
A
nuns
nun.
and them have. So speaking of a
Yeah.
woman with power, think
Yeah,
how much
that's
power this nun has over a
Yeah.
doctor,
Yes.
I know.
right?
Yes.
I know.
And they're kind of heckling her and having fun, and you see the flirtatiousness going on between Dr. Mason and Margaret.
Yeah.
And we've talked about like them perhaps getting together, but life won't be perfect for her, so it probably won't happen. Was
Well,
that-
now it looks like she's in this full-on thing with Owen, which we'll get to, but it's interesting.
but that's gonna
Right.
play.
Yeah.
That'll play itself out. Owen's gonna have
I
to.
have some theories on it, but I feel like that gets me into predictions. So.
Well,
Okay,
and
alright.
we've got some news
Um,
and gossip on it too. So
All right. Okay. So we'll wait on that. But
juicy.
so Mrs. Shearer, the wife that was put upon, had the had the miscarriage.
Yes.
We always knew she was going to come back.
We
We
did.
felt like she was a significant character, and she did. So she comes back and she says, "No, I did
It
it.
was self-induced.
I
Yes, as
self-induced.
I
I made
predicted.
sure I lost the baby. And how do I make it so I don't have any more?"
Right.
So we're talking about contraception.
Yeah.
Which was totally your call.
It was. I knew
It
it. 'Cause I
was.
was like, wait a minute. You know what the line that gave it away was when her husband said like we're ready to go again, and she was like, well, when we're ready,
Yeah.
whenever that is, wink, wink,
I always felt her casting was a little off. Like her first episode, I was like, she seems a little too smart to play somebody who's so down and out. But
I like
but
that
I just
point,
thought
Bethany. Well, here's what because
Yeah.
even in this episode, she says something like, "Well, they don't pay attention to women like me; they listen to women like you." But to me, that she seems very articulate and smart and
Yeah.
capable of asserting herself as well.
No, but not
No?
as a not as a she does as an actress, and I think in it when she speaks.
yeah.
But we know as a housewife with a blue
middle
collar
class,
husband,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
Um,
but she does have she is
Yeah,
she is
she's
very
got
bright,
the goods.
clearly.
She's got the goods.
And she's got courage.
Yes, she does.
Yes, she does.
And so Margaret goes to Dr. Mason, who is progressive enough to go, okay,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna need 2 of them.
Mhm.
Well, she says I'm gonna need one for myself, contraception for myself as well.
I know they take I'm curious if back then if they took measurements for that as well.
Oh, like customized.
Yeah.
That's a great
Mm.
point.
I'm just
I don't
curious.
know. I don't know.
Today you get measured.
I don't know.
They yeah.
It's amazing that they've
I'm
had them
like
back.
as if it's like a measuring tape or something. I'm like,
Let's just.
I don't
Oh,
know what
that's
tools they use.
hysterical.
Well,
Okay.
the reason she's going to need the contraception is, of course, because of Slater.
Right.
And
Yeah.
they're looking at a pony for the daughter, which she's like, I don't even know. Was she intimating that the daughter might not live, you guys?
I don't
Or
know.
maybe
What,
they
what do you think?
She's like, I don't even,
We don't know what the future holds.
you know,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't know, or if she'd ever be like well enough to really ride. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. it's weird.
Those little things, they are cute though. They are so cute, those little ponies.
Whole discussion of ponies, and then the whole pony thing comes up in Billy's Broadway act too.
Yeah.
So I'm sure
Yeah.
I'm going to leave that to Michael August
Michael August, thank you
Figure-
very much.
to figure out. But he's going to take it back to horses. Remember, he said all season
Yeah.
all
long.
season.
It's
yeah.
been going to horses. But they pick out a pony, and there's just a lot of subtext in their conversation, and they're going to fool around a little bit
Mm-hmm.
After.
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 Yeah, she's a mess.
Which, okay, I'm going to tell my prediction really quickly. I think the doctor is going to be the scapegoat for Owen. I think Nucky's going to find out, be pissed, and the doctor's going to get in trouble.
jeez,
and
I hope
not
not.
Owen.
I really
Sorry, I
hope
had
not.
to. I had to throw that out
That's
there.
not
It was killing me.
That's not based on anything. Other than just instinct. You didn't hear anything.
Just no,
with
that's
it?
that's
Okay, good.
totally
All
based
right.
on instinct and just like watching and because we
Okay,
can't get rid of Owen, but you can get rid of the doctor. And Margaret is Catholic, so she has to be caught.
Now, she'll be
sucks
caught.
Being Catholic.
She's gonna be
Right?
caught. Oh yeah.
We always get caught.
Yeah,
Balls.
she can't get away with it. She'll if she doesn't get caught, she'll confess it.
Okay. It was the other interesting line. Even Teddy. She's like, Teddy learned how to take care of an animal.
Oh.
You know, it was weird. Yeah, we know Teddy's just
He's
a lot
not
going on.
No, and that's Nucky's fault, isn't it? A little bit.
Nucky's fault, but also it's in his DNA too. His dad was shitty, so
Okay.
you can't just blame. I don't think you can just blame Nucky.
You think some kids are born bad, Kevin? I'm just curious.
Born bad.
I mean,
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yep. I think sometimes when they are born bad, if the parents pitch a perfect game, they can make that bad manageable.
Yeah.
And that is just like a total guess. Like I guess I don't want to go off. I've met a couple. I have known a couple of sociopaths and people who've gone to jail, whatever, and been in jail a long time. And somewhere inside, I always found there was a person. So that's why, taking it back to this show, I like how the only one we've yet to see, and it seems like, have we seen any humanity in Jip yet? Because we've seen it in Gillian.
The kitchen table, I think, with his crazy fat family was as close as we could
Crazy
get.
fat Italian. Yeah.
Getting bitched by his mother. That
Right.
was about as much as I could see in it.
And only because maybe that's like relatable. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel that way about. I feel like Nucky has a borderline personality disorder too.
No, I don't
He's just
think so.
narcissistic. That's
Yeah.
all.
And I think he's just seen a lot, and but I agree. Okay, so that's a great. Listen, it's a great segue over to Nucky,
Yes.
and I love the meeting with Means. First of all, it was interesting seeing Nucky with Eli and Slater.
Yeah.
It was so nice that it was back to business. It was back to being brothers again.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
And Eli was the one with the concerns, and Slater's going along with the orders. But Nucky's saying get her a pony, and he said they're dangerous. Uncle Eli. I loved it. It was just
Voice of reason. And he was dressed the
Yeah.
part. It was the most dressed up we've seen him
He's
this
back.
entire season.
Yeah.
He had on his business clothes. It was nice.
I liked it. I
Yeah.
loved it. Was the two brothers again. The one that's more practical, a little more nervous, more reserved, and then the other one who's bold, cavalier. And also but it's a good thing. We're talking about a pony, and not so much Nucky cares, and that's why I don't think sociopath. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
he really loves the kids.
He loves little Emily.
Well, but we move on. We move on to meet with Means and Esther, and I love it. Esther's there. She's smoking her cigarette, and again, just being tough and smart.
And sarcastic and funny as hell. When he says, "What do you do in your free time?" and she goes, "I run naked through the pages of the U.S. Criminal Code." I about just
Awesome,
laughed.
right?
That was the best ever.
And
She's
she-
so
But she's so smart because she said,
Criminal code. That's what I do for fun.
That's what I do,
What
Mr.
do
Thompson.
you do that for
What
fun?
the fuck do you do?
Yeah.
and she said, what I also thought was interesting. He offered her tickets. I'll get you best.
Yeah.
Nope,
Let's limit the favors.
limit the
Yeah.
favors because
Yeah.
it's like no,
Control. She's very smart. She's
Right.
very smart. She'll never let him have that much control.
not
No.
letting him, not getting sucked
Yeah.
in. And when she says, I can be privy to this information, and when she finds out from Means that our Secretary of Treasury owns a distillery, she's like, okay, I think that's
I've
it.
heard too much.
I've
yeah.
heard too much. And you can see her like, what am I fighting for? This whole system is
Because
shit.
you got to have a clear good guy in her mind. You know what I mean? And when that gets so clouded and murky that there's really nothing to fight for, there's no real sense of justice, it's worthless to her.
Right.
Do you ever feel that way in law?
It depends. Has the check cleared? I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
That's a joke. That's
Yeah.
a total
Yeah.
joke. No, I do feel that way, honestly, because
Yeah.
the one thing that you can't change are the facts, right? There's no such thing as a good client or a bad client, but the facts are the facts. But when they start to get murky and there's no consistency, when there's no consistent sense of right, it makes it all feel very hopeless. And
Yeah.
and you could see that in her face at the end of the scene, and I felt for her. I really did.
Moving on to
I like her.
Well-
I like her. She's
I love
she's
her.
it's nice to have a woman that has an
strong,
education
badass woman.
and
yeah.
And
is,
smart
Yeah.
and strong. I agree. Moving on to, was that actually Wall Street where the ticker was going? The Wall Street ticker.
I assumed it was a gentleman's club.
Just gentleman's club.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't know where it was, but
I love the nods to history. We know Mellon is Andrew Mellon through history, and he was the I don't know, he was the billionaire of the
Right.
day.
Yeah.
He was the you think of our money people today, this was the guy.
He was like
Steve Jobs.
Walton.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
I'm
think
trying to
those
think
guys.
who else. Oh, so many.
Right.
Yeah.
But
The Hearst.
so it's
All of them,
interesting.
yeah.
It
Yeah.
was, I loved his take on everything from income tax to prohibition.
Yeah.
Wasn't that amazing? and democracy. And
That was the best. I wrote that
It
line
broke
down,
my
too.
heart a
Yeah.
little bit.
why?
I don't know. I guess I get a little idealistic with
Right, you
democracy.
want to see the good. Yeah.
I want,
But it's
I want some patriotic music and like.
But it's so true. I was actually talking to a fellow attorney about this on Friday at work. Private sector versus government, not to get too political, but I was like, honestly, it's all a mess. And you
Right.
just got to decide who you trust with the mess more, because there's going to be wastefulness and everybody just wants their piece of the pie.
Incompetence too on top of it. Yeah.
Yeah, so.
But I loved hearing his take and what he thought of income tax.
Yeah.
But as much as I would love to agree with that, and I know there's still like these stalwarts who believe that it's not constitutional to this day, income tax. But could we survive without
We
it?
couldn't. That's the thing. I'm
No.
like, do you guys not like roads? I like roads.
I'm into them.
I'm into them.
Yeah.
I like the streetlights.
I like hospitals.
They're great.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, I like to know that I'm safe.
What
I
did
like
it,
cops.
what it
Yeah.
what it means? What did it
I
what
like cops.
what did you
Yeah.
take of the line? How large, small? What did it say? Small. How large, small institutions can loom inside the minds of men.
Small irritations.
Small
loom-
irritation. Sorry,
Yeah.
can loom. So that's he.
It is. It's like a little hiccup that just somebody so smart and so brilliant can get caught up in the littlest thing, and it just kind of
And
like
speaking to
it goes
Mellon,
in loops.
speaking to Mellon,
Right.
and his thoughts on prohibition and his distillery.
Yeah, you could say that with a lot of our politicians. That
We are, yeah.
some of them are doing great work, and then all of a sudden they get caught up in this one little thing, and it
Well, that was
breaks
Elliot
them.
Spitzer.
That's what I was about to
Yeah,
say.
I mean,
Yeah.
before the shit show, he was an excellent
Yes.
governor. He was really trying to take it to a
Absolutely.
good place.
He was, and and there's a lot of speculation that he was going to take
Get
down the
pres- yeah.
criminals in the banking system,
Yeah.
and they're the ones who are like, okay,
We got you, Playboy.
yeah, exactly.
Done.
You kill me.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Fucking hilarious. So I love the meeting between Mellon and Nucky, and Mellon hears him out, but then basically almost has him hauled out like he's
Yeah.
trash.
I love that actor, by the way, that was playing
Oh,
him.
he's
I think
fantastic.
James Cramwell or something like
Yeah,
Cromwell.
Cromwell.
Yeah.
He's
fantastic.
fantastic.
Yeah.
He throws him out, and you guys were a little bit like unsettled, and I was like, no.
You called it
Yeah, he's like,
instantly.
no,
Yeah, he
he's
has to.
got to throw him out to look
Save face.
safe face, throw this gangster bootlegger out, this
Yeah.
local politician out of our wonderful elite establishment, and then pick up the phone
And call him.
and say, okay, let's do this.
It made sense.
You need to run my distillery. I'll give you 1 month to run it, and then 1 month to make a profit,
Mm-hmm.
which I love because I don't know. I love that character. Where he knew exactly what he wanted. He's pretty fair about it. I'll give you a month to set it up. I'll give you a month, and of course, Nucky's like, done.
Because he has the power to distribute that. Is that
Who's
why
that?
you love him?
No, I liked that the way they make Mellon.
Yeah.
Like a gangster would have said, I need tomorrow that set up. And
Oh, no, he's-
even the bullies I deal with in
yeah.
Hollywood, I need that tomorrow and the next day sold. Or
And,
F
and
off.
then they never do. They sit on it for like 2 weeks.
Exactly.
And you're like, dude, you said you needed it tomorrow. I
Oh,
ran around like
yeah.
a crazy,
Crazy
person.
person.
All the time. But I like 1 month,
That's so funny.
1 month, and then
Yeah.
a month. But I love Nucky's response. He's like, done.
Yeah.
Fine. Up and running.
Done.
Which I loved. And I also love, I love the fact that Mellon, and I hope that's not the last we see of him. 'Cause
Oh, I don't think
Oh,
so.
no.
I think we'll see.
I
him
think
again.
we're gonna have some more.
And I just love Nucky being in, like we see Nucky with smaller characters, but I like seeing Nucky with
Big boys.
like this is like one step from the president to
Yeah.
me, and to see Nucky dealing with like a figure in history like Mellon, it was awesome.
He was
I
a
really-
little nervous there for a moment.
He was out of-
He was
yep.
out of his
Yeah.
element.
He
Maybe
was.
you've heard of me, or maybe not.
Or-
that,
yeah.
that moment was
Right.
awesome.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
maybe
or,
you've
or maybe not.
Or maybe
not.
not.
Maybe
Yeah.
maybe I'm not on your radar at all.
Right. Maybe you don't give enough about me because you're a gazillionaire. Yeah.
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 Anyway, we know he's going to do his bidding, and then we go to Nucky and Billy, which is for me is it's what you guys still don't.
Bethany's like,
Right.
So
I one at a
sorry.
time.
Go ahead, go
it's
ahead.
grown on me,
okay.
and in perfect time, I guess. But it's grown on me. I enjoyed seeing her her audition, which of course she was fantastic at.
Amazing.
Right?
Yeah, she was
She
awesome.
totally worked the directors in a great way, and that's basically, isn't it that how it goes down at an audition?
Yeah.
That's how directors fall in love with you, because you're kind of sassy and and they're saying to themselves, "Oh my God, she's the character. That's who the character is," and she nails it. And then she's with some actor guy who makes the mistake of calling Nucky Sir. And by the way, what was with Sir tonight?
I don't know. It kept
Yeah.
reappearing with different characters in different scenes. It was all over the place.
Yeah.
Michael August.
Yeah, Mike figured it out for us.
Paging Michael.
But he said, but he's
know.
and they have their Nucky fights him, beats him up, and my studio's gonna stew you, blah blah blah. Get out of here. He throws the guy out, and then she says, "I don't want to be owned," and all this other stuff, and she said, she finishes that scene with,
Yeah.
"I just want my gangster," and they have sex, and you guys were like, "What?" And I
I know.
and I explained my take on that,
Yes.
Yeah, I think you called it right.
which
yeah,
was
you were right.
which was, I didn't sign up for a husband. I didn't sign up for a father.
Right.
I didn't even sign up for a boyfriend. I just want to be the actress that has the gangster boyfriend. And that's it. And we do up the town, and he's my gangster, and that's it. Just like in the movie, right?
Yes.
They talk about this gangster movie where she's going to be a chick in a gangster movie.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me is all she wanted. And Nucky, being Nucky, where he just seems to, because he does have a conscience, does think things through, he comes back and says, "You know what? No strings attached. If you think I'm just here because I'm trying to control you, here's your annuity. You'll get paid every year. You can do whatever you want. No strings attached." And she goes, "You saying goodbye?" He's like, "No, I'm saying hello."
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Hello and good luck. And the line usually we know from the Clooney movies, good night and good luck, right?
Yeah.
Goodbye and good luck, or whatever it is.
Good night and good luck. Yeah.
So he's like, "No, I'm saying hello and good luck."
Yeah.
So it was, I loved it. I loved all of it.
Mhm.
And before we get to the ending, so tell me, you guys, what your thoughts on Billy are now.
Now, go. I found it interesting because it was definitely an opportunity for the HBO gratuitous sex scene, and they didn't take the opportunity
do
for
that,
that.
yeah.
I don't know if that's contractual or what's happening there, but usually they take their opportunities with that stuff.
But with Paz Vega and with Gillian's character,
Mhm.
Gillian, they're so sexual and sexy
Yeah.
that I feel like you show it with
You want to
them.
see that.
These
but
two,
even with Jimmy's wife though, she got pretty
Oh,
naked.
Angela, yeah.
yeah, and is it the lesbian?
lesbian,
scene?
yeah,
But then
they
again, the lesbian scene. Like, I
Okay.
get you make a
All right,
statement.
so you're saying it's based
I
on
think
in
nobody wants
character.
to see Nucky have sex. I
But-
think
I
that's
think
what it is. I mean, and I love Nucky, but no one wants to
but
see
Ebony,
it.
I was going to say that too, but we saw him have with Paz Vega's character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had tons of it.
I think they got some backlash too, because after I saw
Oh.
Enoch Thompson's ass, I was done with that for a while.
Yeah,
All right, okay.
I just raised the question.
I
I'm
just
curious.
feel like
Is it 'cause
it doesn't
it's-
move. It doesn't move the needle. Like
doesn't move
Paz
the
was
needle
very
forward.
sexual. Daddy, daddy. She was
Yeah,
like,
those-
and that's what made me buy into
or the
her.
tiger
Yeah.
thing
And then
she did.
Gillian
I
is-
love it.
And then Gillian's the Black Widow.
Yes.
And that's why I need to see
We
that.
we have to see the lure.
And a lesbian scene. I want to see a lesbian
And
scene back
most
then.
people
Only
do.
only because what they do is they let you know that you guys
This is
what
not new. Yeah.
Right. This isn't new. This is what went on back then. Is just like it goes on now. And I think if it was just two women winking at each other, we've seen that in old Hollywood films from back then. Where it's a little subtle, like sexual tension. So I think you had to show it. So I don't think we had to see it
Yeah.
with these guys.
That's fair.
Um,
I buy that.
But before we get into what ends up happening, what were like? I want to know, but your overall, because you guys just moaned when I said the whole Billy subplot. So tell me.
You first. Go ahead.
Okay, so what I did like about it was that there was a tenderness from her for the first time. I really hadn't seen that before. She seemed more like an adult. I bought that whole monologue about, I'm for myself. I really believed her. Normally when women kind of say that in her position, it's like a, what do you call it? Backwards logic, or like trying to play reverse psychology. I thought that she meant every word of that. I thought she wanted no parts of this bought and paid for relationship with Nucky. So I was happy to see that. And we saw them kind of have sex after the fight, and then they had sex again after she gave him the annuity, or they started like kissing passionately, and that was tender and it was sweet, and actually was sad later in the episode.
Well, we know on this show that means it's just about, you gotta look at your watch, just about time to die.
As soon
Just
as
about
we,
time to die.
You see it in The Sopranos, you see
Yeah.
all these, like, they're tragedies. You
Yeah.
always see it, even if things go well, it's about time. I thought it was interesting foreshadowing about Nucky how he even knew Hollywood about women. You know, they're always into the new thing.
Yeah.
So
And
true.
A couple of years later, they'll be into someone new,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is
It's absolutely true. It's just yeah, everything is that way. It's like a garden. It just grows and grows and grows, and the new crops come up, and the old ones go to the side.
What was interesting to me about that, though, was I thought that wasn't all that different than their relationship, because normally guys that have mistresses, they rotate them, you know,
Yeah.
and after a couple of years or whatever, they want something new too.
Yeah.
So, you know, I didn't. It was interesting.
Yeah, she's number 3 on the list for Nucky. So
Yeah.
I found I believed Billy. I really enjoyed her. I think for me it's about desire. And I find this happens to me with this is going to sound a little strange, but with Woody Allen films. When Woody casts himself with like the really beautiful woman, even though I love his films,
Yeah.
I have a hard time
Buying them.
buying the intimacy between them. And I'm just like, oh, that's not. And
But
so I
even the
think
vintage ones, when you go back to Manhattan or whatever, because he had a cool swagger to him back
Yeah, he
then.
did back then.
I
He's
mean,
very funny and witty and charming in his own way.
it doesn't. I don't know. I mean, I love Manhattan, but I do remember the first time seeing it, thinking, why are you with him?
But see, there's some women, I feel you about that, and I
Yeah.
have friends that they'll never get it, like, ever. The dude could have as much swag ever. There's some women, maybe I'm one of them, I could see it.
I see
Yeah.
it, you guys, I
Yeah.
see it in Hollywood all the time. I see these
Yeah.
really smart, incredibly talented guys, and I see them with these gorgeous girls. And the first knee jerk is, she's with them for the money. And then when I really watch,
Yeah.
but then when I really watch them interact, they're funny, they're charming, and they're in love with their talent. And I
Yeah.
I see it all the
Yeah.
time.
Maybe I'm an ageist. Maybe that's what it
And
is.
a lot of women are.
I could be
Yeah.
because if they were maybe closer in age for me, I'd be like, oh, like a geeky guy in my age range. I'm like, sure, you're smart, you're funny, not a problem. But maybe we've just so we're gonna add that to the list. Racist, ageist.
Oh, good. Okay, good.
Kevin's
Nice.
so comforting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
So
Well,
maybe that's my
don't-
problem.
Yeah, I don't mind a grand. My friends,
Yeah.
I'll take a granddaddy. That's fine.
Hell yeah!
Good.
Love that.
Yeah.
Marissa, what about you? You know, I can see you younger, right?
she needs
She-
it.
No, Marissa's
She's like,
shaking.
I'm still a teenager.
Absolutely
no way.
That's
Marissa,
funny.
I want you to get on the mic so people can see you.
I want.
Do you put the camera on YouTube?
Okay.
So
Yep.
how pretty is Marissa, you guys?
She's beautiful.
Right?
Gorgeous skin.
Yeah.
too.
Look at that
Thank
skin
you.
and the hair. We were
Beautiful.
talking about hair products today.
Oh.
Nothing to do with Boardwalk. I just wanted to throw that out
totally
there.
off topic.
I love it.
That's what we do here.
But thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome. So the Boardwalk blows up, and Billy, you guys all gasped on the close-up of Billy. You knew it was coming. But by the way, like, Chip could have just why
thought
not?
he was gonna
Why
get
not?
shot,
Why
yeah.
not like just a couple of shootings? But this is Chip. This is why he is such a monster.
And this is why I love Tim Van Patten.
Yes. that
Because
scene was gorgeous.
in the beginning we had the furnace and the fire and like the boiling of the alcohol and something was cooking. Stuff was cooking the entire episode.
Yes.
And then
yes.
That's great.
Bang.
boom,
Oh,
we
see.
have an
Yeah.
explosion.
Smart.
And that's why I
good.
love him.
That is
that's why
one,
he's my favorite
and that's why I
director on
love
the
you.
show.
That's
Thank
one
you.
smart fraud. But that really is. That's
That is.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's interesting because you see Rothstein is just a little lost and he's being picked up, and you see she's gone. I saw a guy walking around without an arm,
Oh.
and you see Nucky on the ground and bloody and you know his ears are ringing and wow, and we know now, guys, it's war.
Well, it got personal in that moment. This is more than business. This is more than ego. This is personal now.
Right.
And how timely is it that that they maybe I'm going way too far with this, that they didn't time it specifically, it wasn't planned, but I mean Atlantic City is decimated right now.
That's you know what.
It doesn't exist.
You
That's
know,
true.
and when I
It-
saw the floorboards down, I also host an AfterBuzz TV little show called Jersey Shore, and so we
Cult
pulled
classic,
and we
yeah.
pulled up some of the pictures of the shore store, and those floorboards that are
Yeah.
on the deck, those deck boards are all caved in now in front of the Jersey Shore store, and seeing it did look eerily similar, and I thought the same thing, and from what I hear with Jersey, the news isn't even painting an accurate picture of how bad it is
Horrible
right
it
now.
is.
It's so so bad off you guys. And so I think it was total coincidence.
Yeah, I mean,
And,
clearly.
and right, I mean, obviously, but it's
Very
eerie.
timing.
It is
Eerie, and
it
I
is
thought of the same thing.
bizarre.
And I do think that, and I know this is more of a predictions thing, but this is a long-term prediction, is Mr. Jib is going to find out now, because we've seen Nucky, handle all these people, and it's not been easy for him, but think of the people he's taken down. Now that this guy's got passion involved, it's gonna be cray.
It is.
It
It
is.
is. It's going down.
Let's
and
quickly do news and gossips, and then I want to do catches of the week.
TV News.
So this is quick. Reading Facebook blogs, a lot of comments on Facebook from last week. They seem to think that Margaret's definitely going to get knocked up by Owen, and they think that that's going to be the come to Jesus moment where Nucky really finds everything out or whatever. So it was interesting to hear Bethany's prediction earlier this podcast and how she thinks that's all going to unravel.
And we know she's
And
gonna
now we know she's going to get on birth, but
contraception.
it might be too late. They've
It
already
might
got
be.
2 in the bag.
You're right.
Yeah.
2 in the bag. Better than 1 in the what?
Stop. Okay. This
Never mind.
is an HBO piece of information. So Trim A is done. So you'll be very happy.
Yay!
Kevin. They you're such
We don't have time. You guys, we
Well,
don't
see,
have time
so this
for
is
that.
This is what I want to
Yeah.
ask you, Mr. TV guy. So Trim A, they're going to give them a half season. So it'll be at 3.5 seasons. They're going to do 4 or
God,
5
why-
episodes, and then they're done. So does this mean HBO now has a better opportunity to do more or continue with Boardwalk longer?
No,
does
it
the network
doesn't.
work that
No,
way?
it doesn't affect it. No,
No.
it just means that we bump that, and hopefully we get more quality programming. You know,
Okay.
because we can usually count on them.
Yeah.
yeah.
But right now, Showtime's kicking their ass.
Oh yeah.
And no, I don't know. I'm very nervous about Boardwalk, but Boardwalk may be the critical jewel in the crown. Meaning, like, we'll
It's their
deal with
baby.
it, right? Because we know it looks gorgeous. We have the finest direction. We have the finest acting. We'll live with it.
And it's got a
It's-
cool factor to it. Didn't you guys notice
Yes.
that? Like,
Yes.
when guys love, because I'm actually surprised that you're the only guy on this show hosting with us, because guys love Boardwalk Empire. And
know
as
what?
Marissa-
girls,
That's an excellent
when we
point.
say that we watch it, they're like, "Oh, you're so cool."
You guys, so yeah, right,
Yeah.
Marissa. Why am I the only guy on this?
I don't know.
I think you made it that way, Kevin.
No, I really
Such a
didn't.
conspiracy theory.
No.
Well, we used to have John.
John
was a
Comerford would
plan.
do it with
John
me,
used
but
to do
John had to go over to do. We had to send him over to do Homeland.
Yeah.
His country needed him over
Yeah,
at
but-
over at Homeland.
But yeah, but it's
But-
a cool show. It's a cool kid show.
And that's why I think that we're okay. 8 seasons, I don't know, but like we're okay
6
to
for
5.
sure, I think.
I hope so. I mean, I hope. I don't know. Anyway,
6 for sure.
But either way, Trim A's kaput, so
Good.
HBO's got some more
Bye,
time
Trim
and
A.
space.
Bye.
Such an ass.
We can find another Mercy.
We love you, New Orleans.
Why did you like Tremaine?
I went to law school in New Orleans, Kevin.
So did you like the show?
It
But you didn't watch the show.
I've seen every episode of the show.
Oh,
I watch
okay.
the show
All
every
right, all
Sunday
right.
night.
And it's not a
But I'll
snooze
say
fest?
this: yeah, if I didn't have a connection to New Orleans, I wouldn't connect with the show.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
there you go.
And I think it could have been done well because I find that time so interesting.
Yeah, the politics alone were fascinating.
But I think it just got too much into the snooze factor.
They focus too much on the food and music, and that's the best part about New Orleans. But you can't make a whole show about that.
That's exactly what it was.
No,
you
you
just hit it on
can't.
the head for me.
Yeah.
Okay, is that news and gossip?
Yes, sir. That's news and gossip.
Okay, so
Say yes, sir.
before we want to
I
go,
didn't get punched.
but-
Good job.
yeah. Oh my
no,
God.
No.
Uh-oh. Did I say sir?
I said, sir.
No,
I
Oh.
said,
she
yes,
didn't.
sir.
Oh.
And he didn't punch me. Good.
No.
He's not a misogynist. He's cured, ladies and gentlemen.
Never. Not you. Ebony. No, I'll hit a girl, not you. Ebony.
Just not me.
You're
Because I'm a
awesome.
down-ass chick.
Yeah, that's right.
Down
Right.
ass.
And by the way, we got the no from Marissa. We're still talking over each other. Sorry. It's my fault, guys. Bethany, speaking about our after blogs,
Yes.
AfterBuzzTV.com/afterblogs. I just have to again throw out to Jason Squamata.
Mm-hmm.
He is a writer I've known for a long time. He's an undiscovered gem, and we're actually working on a novel together.
Oh.
And there's 2 parts of the novel. So I write a part, he writes a part, and he just blows me away. It's like
So then
he
you write yours again?
crushes me. No, I can't. No, he's such a wordsmith. I can't do that kind of writing. I can do story, I can do
Yes.
character, but he's just incredible. And I wanted I just want to tell you guys that if you want more content on Boardwalk Empire, to check out our after blog and read his blog.
Yeah.
It's
deep.
amazing. And so I want to have you. Did you read
I actually
it?
read it, and it is deep. And you're right about the wordsmith. I mean, I have a pretty broad vocabulary, but I was like, oh wait, what? I need some context for that word. It was really
So
fantastic.
Bethany, I'm going to ask you to read some of the
cold-
highlighted
cold
portions.
reading?
Yeah, because
I love it.
Because
I love it.
you're the actor.
No. Okay, so it says here that we're invited into a series of mysterious rituals that give these transformations the weight of the sacred, bloody wine and broken bread into body counts and new beginnings. From Cain and Abel, family egg hunts and talent shows, to ritual sacrifice in an empty bordello, to Gyp's, here we go, Luciferian, there
Right.
we go. Yeah, I can read people. Oh my God, castigation of the Godhead. We're watching the boardwalk get biblical in a mythic war in heaven sense, where human beings are consumed by passion and patterns and extreme decisions that make their exploits larger than life. And in the Sunday school sense, where the benevolent reverence of yesteryear tightens and sweetens the ties that bind.
Okay, and that's discussion of last week's episode. And then there was a couple of just things that he did, just I highlighted. I want you to read that, really even speak to what's going on today and I think in the further weeks.
Okay, so he's talking here with about Nucky and Margaret being exposed in Margaret's conversation with June. That's occurring while the men drink and play with guns and the children look for eggs. The women can be honest with each other. June can admit to her exhaustion. Margaret can admit to her estrangement. June's hand on her shoulder says so much about the burdens women silently bear in a violent world where their subtle strength is devalued. They understand each other and will speak no more of it.
Right, and I just think that statement about how they're devalued speaks to the whole season, what we're seeing with women.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think I highlighted maybe one other thing.
Yeah. It says, this is not the disappointment and resignation of a man whose experiences have led him to stop believing in God. I believe that he's talking about Chip. This is someone who devoutly believes and who finds himself at odds with God. Jip is declaring war on God. He will get what's coming to him. Heavens be damned.
Wow. So, anyway.
Can I just say, by the way, that whatever children you may or may not have are going to be so lucky because your story time reading is fantastic.
Oh, thank you. I've worked a long time on operative word choice.
Awesome.
What else we got?
Okay. This is his last couple of sentences here. Say, all these people are haunted. All these people are slipping into rituals and mythic patterns and acts of magic without meaning to. But at the end of the day, they're all players in the gangster sense. And as much as they want to be loved, most of them would rather be winning.
Winning. And you know what's great too? The explosion on the boardwalk. We saw like the freak show and things like that. So it was perfect that's where it all went down. So just a big circus.
It is a big circus.
There are a lot of catches of the week, and I know we're running close on time. But Marissa, we have a little time in the studio, right? Extra? Yes, thank you. Okay, so from our dear super fan Michael August, some catches from last week's episode. The opening song contained the lyrics, "Sometimes I feel like a motherless child." I feel this relates to Rossetti, as he is treated poorly by his mother and his family. He in turn has low self-esteem, which is where that giant chip on his shoulder comes from. And that is also the reason he was so meticulously working on his suit. His impression with Masseria is extremely important to him. The disgusting-looking head on his plate that he was picking at also symbolizes that he is a man who feels he is fighting for scraps. And when Jip is inevitably killed, his family will likely show little sympathy for him. It may even call him stupid at his funeral. And you know what? Kudos to you, Mike, because that's why that dinner table, oh my God, it's an Italian dinner. And I know you're poor, but where's the big, remember we were talking about where,
spread.
and that's why it was
Scraps.
it was just scraps.
Yeah.
It was just
Good
scraps.
catch. Good catch.
It's so true.
Speaking of impressions, Harrow was also self-conscious about his appearance when attending dinner at Zagorski's house. He asked Tommy, "How do I look?" And he turned away to his good side when he handed Julia the flowers. And to go a step further with his sharpshooter conversation, Harrow was used to feeling isolated from others as sharpshooters. As sharpshooters generally sit by themselves for hours and hours in sniper nests. This made him patient and taught him to wait for the perfect time to strike at his target, Jip.
Yep.
And there was yet another reference relating to the first impressions in this episode where Margaret said, quote, her kids are eager to make a good first impression. The red eggs symbolize the blood of Christ and the resurrection, which you mentioned as a theme of the episode. Easter harvest is about things growing anew and rebuilding relationships, but apparently the relationship between Nucky and Margaret cannot be repaired. And I don't know about that now, guys. Now that Billy's gone, I don't know, but we'll talk about that in predictions. Nucky talking about teaching Margaret how to juggle, maybe subtext for him teaching her how to handle his mistresses. She said, it is too late. Her seeing Nucky with Billy Kent at the dress shop was the straw that broke the camel's back. And we even get symbolism of a camel at the freak show. Harrow says to Tommy, careful, they bite. Kind of interesting, right? And Margaret singing is her way of showing up Kent. I like the subtext of Nucky saying, I would like to see what's up your sleeve. And Margaret responds, oh, you would you? She has her own things going on, including a brief affair with Owen, and likely has secret plans in mind beyond Nucky. I also noticed that Nucky is generally sitting while Margaret is standing above him in their conversations. Perhaps symbolism that she is in power in the relationship. And Nucky and Margaret were both sitting at the head of the table opposite Eli during Easter dinner. Where you would think Nucky would be on the end alone. And I don't know if I mentioned that, but I wrote that down. I thought that was very interesting.
It is.
Yeah.
When would you see a couple at the head of a table? It's
the
always
20s,
in the 20s. Forget it. You know. So as for Gillian, I feel she gets closure in seeing the dead body of a man who looks like her son.
Yes.
So anyway, Mike, great catches. We thank you, and send us some more for next week. And now let's go to predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I'm gonna go and just go on a ledge, because I know we watched the whole thing happen, and everybody's coming for Nucky. That's what seems to be happening, and that's it. But I'm gonna go out a little bit further and say that Billy is not dead; she's maimed. I feel like this is a show that likes to maim people and let them die slowly.
Wow.
Can you remember in the very first, the girl with the Jimmy's sweetheart, the blonde girl?
Harrow.
Yeah.
Harrow,
Al Capone.
Nobody gets to die easily here.
The guy with the iron on his face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, you could be onto something.
That's interesting.
I mean, just the fact that it was disappear. Yeah, man, it would really open up some possibilities to have to see what would Nucky do with her maimed.
And would he still love her?
No, indeed. I can no.
I mean,
Absolutely
it's a very tough question.
No, because so much of what he loves about her is the fantasy of their whole dynamic, and maimed, it's real and it's ugly and it's gritty. You might as well be married.
Yep. But but she has a yearly income now, so
He already bought the cow.
He's gonna have to pay for it.
I think the fact that there was no one there, it says she's gone.
I think she's gone, because I think even like the dark. I'm not a really great technical person, but the way the filming of her, it was almost like she was etched in his mind, in that light, in that image, that kind of almost halo effect.
Yeah, it was
angelic,
different.
And he'll never see it again.
I love the blonde here too. We didn't mention it, but it was so the silent film stars they became platinum blonde.
I know. I finally liked her. She was fully realized.
Right. For me, the predictions is that it's just on. It's going to be a war. They're all coming for Nucky, but Nucky's also going to circle the wagons.
Yeah.
And I do think that Margaret's going to work with him.
Cool.
It might not be romantic, but I think they're going to work.
She's going to fight. She's going to fight for her family. Yes,
because he protects the children.
Because she's the original down-ass chick. Let us not forget.
Right, the original down-ass chick. And everything she's doing in the hospital, and she's doing for women, and her children, Nucky. It's what Nucky provides. So, very interesting, right? Yeah. We're very excited to come back, and I think, it's only gonna be 3 or 4 more episodes, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It stole my heart.
And then they make you wait 10 years for the next season.
Right.
Anyway, all right. So where do we find you guys?
At Bethany.
No.
And at Eboni_K.
At Eboni_K.
Yeah.
And at Bethany with a
IE. With an IE. Yeah. And be sure to check out Homeland next Sunday.
Oh my God, Bethany's gonna be on Homeland, you guys.
Oh, yeah, she's gonna be on.
All right, so check on Homeland, and we're not gonna have you, Marissa. We're not gonna have Bethany next week. Phil said because she's doing Homeland.
Yeah.
It's just me and my down-ass chick. What's up, baby?
Awesome down-ass.
Because I don't know if Kristen's gonna be. Here, but anyway, we'll be here.
We'll be here.
We'll do our best.
All right.
We love you guys.
Cool.
See you next week.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.